like my thumb was still the weakest spot, this muscle,
But
which was about 40
what are you
pounds.
running? Like a 5:55 or
Yeah, it's five. It was five. I changed it to 595 instead of
okay.
555.
Yeah, I love
Um,
rest if you're trying to get stronger. So
yeah, more. It was just more rest in between. Um, and I blew off this hand because the pinch is just a right hand pinch. So I just stopped training my left hand, and I just only started training my right hand. I know it. I know because essentially because I was doing one handed hangs, everything was taking twice as long, and I was like, I don't have, I was like, I just don't have all the time to do all of the different hangs and do all these things. So I'm just gonna like warm up both hands, and I'm just gonna do my like 20 minutes of pulls with my right hand, and then I go on to climbing.
okay. Well,
Now I'm doing both hands.
all
Now I'm focusing on both hands. But for that, like leading up to jumbo low, I was like, I just need to pinch with one hand. I just need to get this hand to 60 pounds to 70 pounds. So I'm just gonna train this hand.
well, we're
Like,
not going to talk about Jumbo Love because um yeah, we'll talk about it for a very long time. But we
yeah,
need to go back to finish today, go back into this like high volume stuff.
yes, high volume. Okay.
High volume mental. That's what we started. I don't know how long, more than an hour we've been talking, I'm sure. And we haven't even addressed the first thing we talked about. So
Yeah.
the high volume stuff, yeah, like I have developed capacity, and I'm just adding stuff. Like I'm getting bored. It's almost a warm up now to do the 100 push-ups and the 100 presses and the 100 squats with 25 pounds. And so now, like, now we go from this thing that was like wrecking me for 4 or 5 days. The other thing I'm doing right now that's really stupid is I take no days off. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
30 straight days of this high volume stuff, which I already ran into a problem at like 10 days. I was just in a hole and like
Yeah.
it's crazy the numbers. Um, the numbers were like I'm doing it by the numbers and not so much the feeling because I had a couple of crap feelings like on day 5 and day 7 where my numbers were still within 10% of my maximum. So I was like, hey, steel trash can, just stop worrying about what you feel like and just make sure you get done what you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
So I kept doing what I said I was going to do. And then I had day 9 and day 10. My numbers just crashed. I didn't feel good too. Like I just felt like I was there, like pulling on stuff. But my numbers were like, if my numbers were in the 200s, they were all the way down to like 170, 150 to 170. And it was just like seemed like pointless to keep doing the finger pull stuff.
Yeah.
I took 3 days off of everything. And then went back and all the workouts have just been really easy again at the 100 level. So it'll probably take me 33 days um, to do like 30 sessions of this high volume stuff. But I also switched from max pulls because that doesn't really fit in with the program either. I switched from 10 max pulls to like finger curls. Those
Okay.
finger curls with BFR bands. So it's really low intensity, so I don't have to worry about um, like a lot of stress on the tissue of
Mm-hmm.
anything, but I can make sure that I get a ton of hypertrophy in my forearm, and my forearm just gets really big. So lately, I've been posting all these pictures of my forearm and doing the Popeye the Sailor Man. And my kids love Popeye the Sailor Man too. And I've also been eating that spinach.
Proud papa moment.
Yeah, just for and my kids are starting to eat spinach too, which is ridiculous.
It's awesome.
Just because they see me open that can and they're like, "Oh, Popeye the Sailor Man." So yeah, like combining it all. But back to what you were doing, you went through a lot of high volume. There are benefits of it, and here's what I found is the benefit is that I changed my relationship to what is a lot.
Yeah.
So now, where I would never have warmed up with 25 reps, 25 push-ups, 25 squats, 25 presses. I would have never warmed up with that because I thought that was my workout. When I started doing it for sets of 100 or for reps of 100 every day, now I can warm up with that and I'll be warm. from 25 reps of each of those things.
Yeah.
And then I can add my skill stuff after that.
I mean, that's what the Japanese do. They basically do my workout for their warm up every World Cup.
Yeah. But I'm
The-
sure at some point they've probably had a long time to get used to it. I'm sure at some point they built their capacity past that so that they could warm up at
yeah,
that.
yeah. Their like sessions will be like 8 hours, is what I've heard. I haven't climbed in Japan, so like
Yeah.
I can't from personal experience. But what I can tell you is that the Japanese team start warming up when ISO opens, and they climb for like 3 hours of boulders I can't do, and then they go out and they do the World Cup, and I'm like, this is insane. Like they like their capacity is so high, and it's the whole team, and they all warm up together, and like they'll just do max bouldering for like 2 hours before they go and do the World Cup.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy.
there's a very different like cultural mindset there. Um to like beauty and simplicity, and I mean they have the samurai sword, right? Like this perfectly made sword that people will spend their whole life trying to perfect how to make this one sword. Where like the people in the Western world have like a big giant battle axe of a smashing sword, right? So yeah, it's the difference. There's a
Yeah,
difference, and there's an admiration for someone doing a single thing perfectly
yeah,
forever. And
yeah,
every little different thing I want to do and like being pretty good, like jack of all trades, but they're in their culture is kind of a master of one
yeah,
thought. So it makes sense that they would, if they spent 8 hours in a climbing gym, no one's gonna be like, you just wasted your time all day because all you did
yeah,
was climb all day. Like I imagine, and we'd have to talk to someone who's a Japanese climber. I would just imagine that if they spent 8 hours in a climbing gym and that was their goal, they're probably supported by people
yeah,
as
yeah,
like
totally.
perfecting a craft if they're at the highest level, I imagine.
Yeah.
But so the high volume stuff that you were doing, what was that, and what did you learn from it?
I was training lead and boulders. And it was before team trials last year. And I was just trying to go. I was like doing generally my same sessions, but I was just trying to have longer sessions. So I was just like staying at the gym for like 4 to 5 hours, or like just trying to like climb for longer. And it was a while ago, but yeah, I ramped up the volume and tried to maintain the um, intensity
Hmm.
to just see how much I could just wreck myself.
So where did you fall in? That was the other thing that I learned. I was like, well, about 10, 11 days in, I kind of crash. Where like most of
Yeah, I was like, it was
us
like, it
is
was
two
like,
or 3 days on, 2 or 3 days off, like maximum 3 days on. That's what people would say. Whoa, you went more than 3 days on at anything. They'd be like, you're digging yourself a hole. And it's like, well, yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that for increasing strength and stuff, but I thought that maybe my maximum that I could endure was 4 or 5 days on. But what I learned is it's 10. Like
yeah,
I hit 10 days and I was in a hole and I had to rest to get out of it. So that means that I can play around with 4 or 5 days on if I want to, or I can play around with 2 or 3 days on. It just changed my perspective of what is really putting in too much work and where is my line of that.
yeah, totally. Yeah, I played a lot around with that, and right now I'm back in the like 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 2 days off.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, that's
um,
for strength though, right? That's not for like,
yeah, building strength, and then a lot of listening to the body, and a lot of like essentially it was like kind of a decision. It was like a decision not made out of like tactical error, or tactical. It wasn't like a like, oh, I'm gonna train my. It was just like I started working full time
yeah.
uh, in January or February, um, and so like literally all I could do was like climb on the weekends. It was like I would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then like Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'd be climbing.
Mm.
And so like what I ended up doing was like, and so it actually sounds more high volume, but like I would like set Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday I like had to rest, and then Thursday I would work, and I would be like, I'm pretty like
Yeah.
wrecked, so I'm gonna rest Thursday, and then or maybe I would climb Thursday, and then Friday had to be a rest day, and then I would leave. Either if I worked Friday, I would work Friday and rest, and then Saturday, Sunday, I would drive to the Hurricane, and I would just climb from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday or Saturday, Sunday, and then I would drive home and I'd set Monday, Tuesday, and then rest Wednesday, Thursday, and then or rest Wednesday, Friday, depending on the schedule. And it was just like um, that's all I did for like 3 months,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
so it was like
so it changes your limit, right? It
yeah,
changes what you thought was your limit because there are so many programs that are limiting you to
yeah,
whatever. Where I think there are limits and restrictions in general that work, but you should be able to play around with things if you're an athlete, to some extent to see where are my limits and then work your program off that. It should be kind of fun to experiment on yourself.
yeah. That's super fun. Just see, yeah. I mean, I like it a lot to like changing things, and now it's a lot different. I'm like setting Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm mostly just climbing. Like I set Monday, Tuesday. One of those days I'll train after I set, and then Wednesday I rest, and then like maybe I'll climb Thursday. Probably rest Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll climb Friday. Probably rest Friday, and then climb like Saturday. So I'm
Yeah.
like only climbing like 3 days a week now.
I think there are good general fitness plans for you to learn how to apply different things. And then once you have, there are so many other factors like how well you sleep, what kind of food you eat that affect your recovery. And if you're recovered, then you can go again. But
Yeah,
like maybe you take 3 rest days, but you don't hardly sleep but 4 or 5 hours a night and you're not eating well. Well, I mean, you're probably not as recovered either as someone that slept well and ate well
yeah,
one night. So just what the main thing is that don't limit yourself based on what some program says. There are general principles that are important to like stay within a range of, but you can kind of play with those and see what works for you best. And
yeah,
if you're getting enough sleep and eating the right foods and getting your recovery, then you may be able to do a little bit more and you may be able to get a little bit more volume. But
yeah.
also, the performance has to be there.
I would
That's
say
the thing. You have
I
to
would,
you have to perform well. If that's the
yeah,
goal to be a great performer, then yeah, if you're shoot, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're just eating cheeseburgers every day and not training and you go out and get first place, well then keep eating cheeseburgers every day and stop training. But I've never
yeah,
met anybody that can do that. So somewhere between that and training too much will be the right place for you to get the job done.
totally. And the thing, yeah, the I don't know. I also like, I think the playing around with it is important too. I think you need to have an idea of what it looks like before you're going to get injured. Like, you need to have an idea of what it looks like when you're like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Um, and be able to recognize that. Cause like, what, you have the like chronic people that are always injured because they just can't tell when they're going to get hurt. And then they just train until they get hurt. That sucks because you're like high volume and then nothing, and then high volume and then nothing because you're up and then you're injured and
Yeah.
you're like back to like 10%. And then you have the people that just never train hard enough because they're like, I don't think I can. Like, don't
Or I
ever
might
like
get
actually,
injured. Yeah, that's the
yeah, like,
that's the side that you're like dealing with this. Is there is that side that's like if I train too many days on, I'm gonna get injured. But who knows? I mean, I don't
yeah,
want you to get injured, but it is good to like push yourself to exhaustion just to know where your baseline is. And then
yeah.
you need to figure out how to get strong within that framework.
I like playing with it. Like, I have done many, and it's like, it's funny. It's like an argument me and Emma have had like a couple of times now. Because she moved in with me, and so she like sees everything that I do, and we constantly have this little like kind of, and she's a professional athlete too. She's a professional ballerina, and so she's like, I know what I'm talking about. Like, you're doing too much, and I'm like, I'm not actually doing that much at all. And like we'll argue back and forth because she's like, you're gonna get injured, you're doing too much, you're like, you never take a rest day, you're like going too hard. And I'm like, I'm really not actually pushing that hard. Like I'm in like a pretty chill phase right now. Like I've done those phases where I'm like wrecked for
Yeah.
like 3 months and then I get sick and I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to like calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but like, but that's only because I've done that before and I've like seen what my threshold is and I've like played with all the things of like, what can I do? How can I stack the things? Cause like, that's the other thing I'm doing right now is like, I can't climb every day. So I started doing a bunch of other stuff. Like I started doing like core and I started running again, and we started going swimming because I was like, I've been playing around with swimming. It's like I don't think a lot of climbers play with swimming because it's your hands get wet and people are always worried about their skin.
That
It's
is
the thing. You
weird.
talk to like high performing athletes, and they'll be like, I don't swim. Like I know a lot of
I don't
American
wash my
athletes
hands. I don't
that
let
don't
I
wash their
wear
hands, that
I
shower with
saw that too,
gloves.
and I was like, you guys are so silly because like really dry is also not great friction, and really wet is not great friction. You want it to be on the dry side,
Yeah,
but like if both things are super dry, it's just not perfect friction. Perfect
yeah,
friction,
exactly.
like this barely amount of moisture. It's like everything connecting together.
Yeah, you want that Japanese skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, my thought is like maybe like if I like get my hands acclimated to being wet all the time and being in like super moist environment, maybe they'll stop producing so much sweat because they're moist all the time.
I don't,
I don't know,
I have
but
no
we're
idea. I think you're completely wrong, but it doesn't matter. This is
but
the
it
fun thing about experiments. It doesn't matter if I think you're wrong. Go test it out, see if it works. If it works, then I'm wrong. I
yeah,
don't get
I
to
don't
be
yeah, who
right
knows?
because I
But
think something unless I have research on it.
unless you've tested it, I'm sure someone's maybe tested it somewhere. But my idea is like running is great cardio, but it also is like super high impact and it's also the wrong energy system because you're running, you're not pulling with your arms, like you're doing cardio with your legs, which
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the cardio that you do in climbing, which is like lower volume, because climbing is like a more intense sport than running, and so like never am I climbing a mile, never. I don't ever climb a mile,
Yeah.
which is like one of the shorter. Like when people go for a run, they go for like a 3K or 5K. Like when I go for a cardio run, I go for like a 2 mile run,
Yeah.
which is like total different energy system than climbing. Like never when I do like high cardio
And when you do
climbing.
a 2 mile run, you never you never run like 20, 30 seconds at like a medium pace. Like you might climb the easy section of something and then go balls to the walls and sprint for 30 seconds and then slow
Yeah,
down for 10 seconds, sprint for 30 seconds, slow down for 10 seconds, sprint for 10 seconds. You never do what happens to you when you rock climb.
yeah,
So, I mean, if
exactly.
you did that, it would be closer to helping you, but it's still running and running is dumb.
Yeah. I do like running. I'm really bad at running, like properly bad at running.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
like I can barely jog 2 miles. I'm not like that's like if I like go for a jog, 2 miles is like I'm dying. I'm like on my deathbed. Like literally like 2 months ago, I ran myself into an allergic reaction. I like
I
went for a 2 mile run and had an allergic reaction because I like stressed my body so much that like it went into anaphylaxis because I like was in so much like my body was like too much, you're going too hard. Um
Yeah, you're not going to convince me that I don't need to run. I'm,
yeah,
I played basketball my whole life, but I don't consider that running necessarily because they've limited the to 90 feet and like whatever,
yeah,
it is, like 50 feet. So I only have to run really fast for like 10 seconds. And
uh,
I'm fine with that. If you make me run more than like 1 or 2 minutes at a time, I'm done with it. I'm bored. This is dumb.
yeah. But with that being said, my experiment has been what if I change my cardio from running to swimming and just do the same motion as climbing, but super low impact, zero impact, just cardio. And if also you look at swimmers and they're freaking Doritos, dude. They're yoked. I'm like, okay, if I just do what they're doing, I'm probably gonna get pretty strong.
Yeah, and you have this advantage of your hands always being wet for when
Yeah, exactly.
if swimming works, I want you to focus on telling people it's because your hands are wet all the time.
Okay.
I want to see people prune their fingers. That's all I want to see is pruning
Yeah.
fingers on every climb and hold.
Well, this is my other experiment lately that I've been like half-assing, but have been kind of developed over the World Cup circuit is like, and this is probably not for 90% of the listeners here. No one, this won't be applicable to anyone listening, but I did the World Cup circuit, and the best conditions I had all year was like 75 degrees and like 85% humidity.
Hmm.
That was like the best conditions I got to climb in all the whole World Cup circuit. So I was like, all right,
Hey,
well, like the skin was like actually the defining because I was like sweating and wet and I couldn't hold the holds. It was like this is a thing. So
I guess you should
I
be climbing in August in the
yeah,
south.
that's what I've been doing is I've been
It's-
going up to Little Cottonwood in the middle of the summer during the middle of the day and climbing at the hottest part of the day. Is I'm like, okay, if I just get used to climbing in like 90-degree weather with like high humidity or just 100-degree weather, like if I can just do something that's harder than what I'm doing, then maybe it'll work. So I've just been like trying to climb in the worst conditions possible
Well,
and just like get used to climbing in the middle of the summer because like the World Cup circuit's not changing. The dates aren't going to change. It's a summer circuit. It's in nice vacation spots that are all 100 degrees and like 95% humidity during the year.
yeah, I guess you should actually get used to doing that. You should get used to doing whatever you're gonna have to do. Okay, last thing today, I want to
Yeah.
talk about mental fitness and scream holds.
Okay. What's your question?
What are scream holds? Oh, did you call it scream holds? Or we had some goofy acronym for this. But we would give climbers points for like we would watch them when they were route climbing, and when they
Yeah.
would get to the point where you could see this, and you could see they're slowing down, you could see that they're at their limit and they want to bail. We would shine a little laser light like right in front of them so they would know like red light time.
Yeah.
We had some other name for it. I can't remember that was
Scream holds. It might have been scream holds. I do remember what you're talking about. Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
then they would get points for every hold they got after they saw the red light. So
Yeah.
that they could get used to like, oh, building a different relationship with I'm trying to get out of here. I'm trying to retreat from this. And then when I was listening to that podcast, um, and then so instead of scoring like all the holds that you would get for a score on a route, like it doesn't to me it doesn't make sense to score that way. It does for the competition, but for your personal development, all of those holds before you want to bail are not the holds that will win the
Yeah.
competition, right? So only the holds that you can tack on to after bailing, because when you want to bail, other people are going to want to bail. So I'm
Yeah.
not scoring any of those holds that no one else wanted to bail on. So instead of having a score of 35 or 40 or whatever you would get if you came into practice and climbed on a route and you were trying to on-site that day, we would just score, okay, we'd see them get pumped, and it was individual too. So you got to have a personal relationship with your score. We'd see
Yeah.
them get pumped, we'd see them try to bail, they would shine the light. One, two, three, four. And then four was their score. You scored four on that because I
Yeah.
know that you only tried
For 4 holds.
the
Yeah.
rest
How
of
many
them were
holds can you
just,
get past once you're
yes.
ready to
So
fall?
you
Yeah,
call those,
exactly.
what did you call those?
It might have been scream holds. It's like it's I've that's funny because I was like I do remember that, but that's been like my personal like mental prepper like basically my approach to like lead comps
Yeah.
in the last 2 years has been like I'm going to climb well until I'm rip shit pumped, and then I'm just gonna scream until someone physically pulls me off the wall.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like I mean, that's generally like a lot of like comp climbing is like a lead climbing is like the like it's about climbing well and like maintaining the fitness and being perfect. But like the thing that counts, the thing that matters, and you can tell the difference between like winners and like people that had a good day are the ones that like you can tell they're like wrecked and then they just keep climbing. Like Jesse Grouper is someone who just like he's so good at yeah scream holds. Like he looks like he's gonna fall, and then he climbs like 15 more moves. He's like I was so pumped, and then he's just like
Yeah, we should track that. That's what you should track. If you're
yeah
preparing for like rope season, there should be at least a day every single week that's dedicated to that is mental fitness. I think that's mental fitness. When people talk about it, they talk about like self-talk and yeah, all of this like support each other and all that stuff's important too. But when I think of mental fitness, I don't think about having the right self-talk and having the right scripts in your head that you say to yourself. I think about how do you react to the most discomfort. So
yeah
what's the reaction to that? And most
yeah
people's reaction is to pretend like they're going for a hold to save their ego and fall off.
yeah
Or like scream before they've really reached a limit so that they do two more moves and you're like, wow, they really tried. Or like stay in a position too long and act like they're just and then they come off. But none of that stuff is really moving through that discomfort and leaning into it and then making the right next decision. And so it's really hard to make the right next decision when what's happening to you is telling you to bail out and get away from this problem that's happening to you.
yeah
So that's just the coolest part. And so that's my favorite thing. That's why I like that 7-3-25 and the hype session because it turns it into you're making a decision right now. Like everyone wants to pretend that the climb happened to them or they ran out of fuel in their form. They want to pretend and blame all these other things for the reason why they fell, and they don't want to come to the unfortunate understanding that it is them that is making the decision.
they gave up.
And I do it all the time. I give up all the time. And every once in a while I don't give up. I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah, you're like that felt really good.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if I sin. That's the other thing I think you had touched on is that like the wooden stuff about like just striving to just barely see 100%.
Yeah,
And there's like beauty in that.
you'll never see 100%, but if you can see 80, 98%, you're pretty psyched.
And I think Neely asked you like how you know that she has a lot of climbers ask questions like I feel like I could have tried harder, but I'm not sure if I could have tried harder. Like there was this sticking point that they couldn't answer this question. I'm not sure if I could have tried harder. And it seems really simple to me. Like if you're asking the question, then you could have tried harder.
Yeah,
If you know what it feels like to approach 100%. And when you come off of it, you're not thinking, could I have tried harder? You're the only thing you're thinking is, wow, I touched into something that's
yeah.
different. That's
And
different.
generally, yeah, like even if you're like, I tried as hard as I could, you probably could have tried harder.
Yeah.
Like you'll know when you couldn't have tried
Yeah,
any
that's the
harder.
thing. You know, if you tried hard as you can, you know, there's a feeling that comes with trying as hard as you can. And if you're asking questions, then you didn't. If
Yeah,
you're like, did I? Could I? No, yes, you could have tried harder. You didn't try as hard as you can. You didn't reach your limit because you're asking the questions. And that's okay too. But yeah, you just don't get there very often. But that's why
no,
it's so special because you don't get there very often.
yeah.
So scream holds.
Scream holds. I do. Yeah, now I remember. That was so long ago. That was like 2018.
Was it?
Yeah, a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah, well, I'm
That's when the kids that are on the World Cup circuit with me were like youth C. Like Josh was like youth C.
that's funny.
Yeah. Or youth B maybe.
Well, I think that's a good place to stop today. Scream holds. We'll get back into a whole steel trash can conversation, I'm sure,
Yeah.
future. But
Yeah, let's keep doing these.
yeah, man, I appreciate it. Um, I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks,
you
dude.
giving me the insight of what's going on these days. Sounds like some things are the same. Still got to be strong.
Most things are the same. It's the same. It's just the same stuff. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
different shaped holds.
same stuff.
Slightly bigger fiberglass holds.